right, so this problem here, we're going to subtract 5 on both sides, get 16. We're going to divide both sides by 2. We've got to get that parenthesis with the exponent alone. And then we take the index of the exponent. So the index has to match the exponent. That's how I get rid of the exponent. Which means I got to take the cube root of e. So x minus 5 equals, the cube root of 8 is 2. We add 5 to both sides, and my answer is 7. Second one, we're adding 16 to both sides. We've got to get that 2x minus 5 cubed alone. We divide by 3 on both sides. We get 2x minus 5 cubed equals 9. And now I got to take the cube root of both sides. Now the cube root of 9 I can't take. So 2x minus 5 equals the cube root of 9. 2x equals 5 plus the cube root of 9. And then you divide both sides by 2. My answer is 5 plus the cube root of 9 divided by 2. And that's our answer. For number 3, I need to get the parentheses raised to the 2/5 alone. We subtract 2. We divide by 5. And now, we divide by 5, we get 4, excuse me. And now we have to raise both sides to the reciprocal of that fraction. So it's going to look like this. 7x minus 3 to the 2/5 raised to the 5/2, which means on this side I have to raise it to the 5/2. We're always left with a 1 exponent if we do it correctly. 4 to the 5/2, the square root of 4 is 2, and 2 to the 5th is 32. And from here I'm solving. I add 3 to both sides, I get 35, and my x equals 7. The second one, I need to get the 3/4 exponent alone with its parentheses. So I divide both sides by 3. 4x plus 1 to the 3/4 equals 27. Now, 4x plus 1 to the 3/4 raised to the 4/3. We'll make that actually a bracket. 27 to the 4/3. Well, that's 4x plus 1 here. Cube root of 27 is 3. 3 to the 4th is 81. 4x equals 80. And x equals 20. (5x plus 16 under a radical equals 10x minus 4). When you have the radicals on both sides like that, we're just squaring both sides. That's how we get rid of the radicals. And this simply becomes a single variable equation. We get 5x on this side, we get 20 on this side, and we get x equals 4. And plug the numbers back in. We get 36 here, the square root of 36 is 6. Here we get 36 under the radical, the square root of 36 is 6. We're good. Number 2, we have 5 times the radical 2x plus 7 minus 4 equals 21. I've got to add 4 to both sides. That gives me 25. I divide 5 on both sides. That gives me 5. To get rid of a radical, right? In the past, we were trying to get rid of an exponent. To get rid of a radical, we raise it to the index. If there's no index, it's soon to be 2. So we're squaring both sides to get rid of that radical. 2x plus 7 equals 25. 2x equals 18. And my x equals 9. Anytime we're subtracting 2 radicals, as we are here. So here we're going to add the 3x minus 5 under the radical to the other side. And we have the similar problem to what we did in the first problem. We square both sides. 2x plus 2 equals 3x minus 5. I'm going to add 5 to both sides to get 7. Subtract 2x on both sides to get x. And my x is 7. 2 times 7 is 14 plus 2 is 16. 3 times 7 is 21 minus 5 is 16. The square root of 16 minus the square root of 16 is going to be 0. Negative 3 times the cube root of 2x plus 4 plus 3 equals a negative 3. I'm subtracting 3 on both sides. That gives me a negative 6. Divide negative 3 on both sides. That gives me a positive 2. Now my radical is equal to a positive, which I like. Since we're cubing, it wouldn't have mattered. But I always like the positive better. So we get 2x plus 4 equals 8. Subtract the 4, we get 4. Divide by 2, and we get an x equals 2. 2 times 2 is 4. 4 plus 4 is 8. Cube root of 8 is 2. 2 times negative 3 is negative 6. And negative 3 plus 3 is negative 3. So we have the binomial on the left side, the radical on the right side. We have to square both sides. Now, when we square a radical, we get the number without, or the number under the radical without the radical. In this case, we get the expression under the radical without the radical. X minus 5 squared has to be FOILed out. That becomes x squared minus 10x plus 25. And now I have a problem with an x and an x squared. So I got to get everything equal to 0, and we're going to factor. I'm going to subtract 3x on both sides, and I'm going to add 5 on both sides. So x squared minus 13x plus 30 equals 0. We get x minus 10, x minus 3. So my answers are 10 and 3. I can't stress this enough. This is really where you got to put the numbers back in. 10 minus 5 is 5. 3 times 10 is 30 minus 5 is 25. Square root of 25 is 5. That works. 5 equals 5. When I put 3 in, 3 minus 5 is negative 2. 3 times 3 is 9 minus 5 is square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. Negative 2 doesn't equal 2. 3 is not an answer. Your only answer is 10. And you do need to establish that. So now when we have something like this, we have to square the entire sides, which means I have to square it in this fashion. So this becomes the square root of x plus 4. Square root of x plus 4 plus 1 times the square root of x plus 4 plus 1. And when I FOIL that out, I get x plus 4 plus radical x plus 4 plus radical x plus 4 plus 1. And now I'm going to combine my like terms. X plus 5 plus 2 radical x plus 4. Now on the other side of the equal sign, it's pretty simple. We square the radical, we get the expression without the radical. Now, instead of having 2 radicals in the problem, I have 1. So now I got to get the radical alone. I subtract x and I subtract 5 on both sides. And that leaves me with 2 radical x plus 4 equals 6. We divide 2 on both sides. The radical x plus 4 equals 3. And now to get rid of that last radical, we square it. X plus 4 equals 9, and x equals 5.